Welcome to Beyond Bacalhau, Cracking the Portuguese Business Code by Raquel Batista. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the sixth episode of my podcast, Beyond Bacalhau. And I have here Pablo Arias, who has come from the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. And Pablo, tell me a little bit, not me, because I know a lot about you, but tell my audience what it is that you do and even how we met, because it was kind of crazy. So, Pablo.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Pablo Arias. I own an international shipping company. So we ship stuff from United States. We're incorporated in the United States and many other countries. The brand is incorporated in other countries as well. Uh, and the reason I started looking into Portugal is because a lot of people ask for shipping their things to Portugal. And I think we got introduced by a friend of us,
Yes.
Deborah.
Deborah Daha.
Deborah. And I've been trying to connect with more and more business people, service providers for my customers so they have a soft landing when they move to Portugal. And I do believe that's how I met. This is my first time in Portugal. If whoever wants to move abroad and open a business and set up a business in the new legislation, especially this country needs to talk to you. But way beyond that, there's a lot of more things other than the legal taxation.
We were just off camera, let's say, talking a lot, and we ended up realizing that a lot of our passion is business management. So it's what it means to be an entrepreneur, the lessons that we've learned so far, how to scale, how to grow, how to not do those things when you can't, or when you don't want to. And you have a lot of experience in transforming your business from a one person business to several people business. So tell me a little bit about that journey of growing into a multiple people business.
The first thing I have to say is if you're thinking about growing your business, you need to realize growing means having a team. You cannot grow alone. I mean, maybe there are some businesses that maybe you can do it by yourself, but if you want to scale and have a substantial impact, you're gonna have to learn a new set of skills. At the very beginning, if you're good in sales, you can potentially do maybe have a million in a year, maybe a little more, but that's it. You need to have somebody else. When you start hiring, you understand it's not the same. Dealing with the people you want to sell the service is one thing, and dealing with the people who are going to be your, I call it, internal customers.
Yes, yes.
So you need to understand that the person that brought you to whatever you are in business has to change, and that's really really hard because it's a mental um, shift. You're shifting from you are doing everything yourself to working through others. Uh, it's very frustrating. Sometimes you hate your employees and you hate everyone because we tend to lie to ourselves. We think, oh, there is nobody else who's going to do it like myself. I'm the only one that can sell, and I'm the only one that can operate, and I'm the only one that can source whatever products or services. Uh, but and that's, I guess, in a sense true. You're the only one that can do it how you do it, and but this is impossible. I mean, you're not gonna grow if you're just doing everything. So the first thing you need to start is changing your mindset, and it's better to have somebody that does maybe not 100% how you do it, but it's better to have somebody that does it 70%. Because if you have somebody that does it 70% and you can multiply that by 10, you'll be doing it 700% more. Um, and then trust me, the numbers are gonna grow. I remember the first time, and I went through a lot of different people, uh, employees and people that wanted to help me, or I wanted to get more people. The first one didn't work. The second one didn't work. The third one didn't work. So I started looking for structures and how to make things work. I found one, and this when this one person worked, it was like three times more. So I was selling three times more. So at the very beginning, I was selling a month, and I'm talking in US dollars, around $25,000 a month, which is nice. I had a nice house and I could change the car and 25 grand. Um, Maybe making $5,000 for me in a very small lifestyle business, I call it. It's a business that is just you, the owner, and maybe one assistant, and just you, the owner, is a lifestyle business. Um, but I went through the struggle. I wanted to scale, and I found somebody that worked. The business went from 25K to then 50 to then 60. So almost
Impossible
3x.
without someone else.
Yeah.
Impossible to do
'Cause
alone.
then and I found somebody that she was basically doing what I hated, which is operations. I'm good with people, so I was doing more of the sales and consultations in my business. So it's very important that you go through this process. A lot of people tend to believe, no, it's not going to work, and we just fall into the complaining and how hard this is. But trust me, you can go through this 6 months process of trying one, two, three. But whenever this person clicks and work, then it's well worth it.
It's magic.
And I didn't know how to do it, and I still struggle through acquiring talent. But the key here is spending the time learning. Download the book, listen to the audiobooks for business. Or if this is your bottleneck, and if you realize the bottleneck of your business right now is having talent, but spend some time, spend 90 days just learning about how to get talent, how to get people motivated, and how to inspire your talent. Once again, you are not the same person. You're going to have to change yourself to a different type of person. So instead of just a salesman selling a product, or instead of just what you are right now, you have to become a leader. And it's just, I guess it sounds like very cliche, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to be the leader of your organization, and you hear all the CEOs talking about leadership. Uh, but there is a reason why all of these big important CEOs talk about leadership style, business culture, and
Mission,
mission
values.
statement, values. They talk about all these things, and the main reason is because you cannot attract the right people to you if you're not clear on these values.
Yes.
If you're not clear on your values, mission, the culture of your business, you're gonna try attract anything to your business. But once your business is set and clear on what you want it to be, and this is who we are, and this is how we do things, then you could attract that potential employee, or that potential help that you need. It could be an employee, or it could be an outsourced service provider. And that's another thing. I started.
Yeah, you don't have to get everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I started. I actually started.
Yeah.
I started outsourcing and using freelancers.
Yes.
And it's a big struggle in many countries, to have an employee right away. There's nothing wrong with.
Yeah, and same in Portugal. We've talked about it. We've talked about that. So, and you had a crazy, genius idea of hiring people in different countries in South America, so that there wouldn't be a problem of jurisdiction and labor laws and stuff. And so, it's incredible that it was easier to have people from different countries working together than actually having employees on board. So sometimes the laws and governments are not the easiest, are not the biggest promoters of businesses, because they make us go outside and search for solutions. But that model worked for you.
It's. I guess I would not do it any other way.
Yeah.
Any other way. We're now, after many many years in business, we're now starting to get more people in house.
Mhm.
But it took me years.
Yes.
Because once again, you hire somebody, you have to save for the couple additional salaries, or one additional salary. and you need to be responsible for many other things. And that's okay. It's important. I mean, you don't, it's just part of how our economy works. We want to protect our women.
Yeah,
We
of
want to
course.
protect families and stuff. But uh, small businesses cannot hold this load. Small
Yeah.
businesses are not. You're not going to succeed if you follow all of this. This is kind of designed for big corporations.
Yes.
So a Microsoft can do that.
Yes.
They,
Can hire and fire
yeah.
at their own will. That they don't have any issue at all.
But when you have a small team, is first you have to become their leader and lead them into something. And if you don't know what to lead them into,
Yes.
and this is what I'm leading into your culture, into the reason we're doing things. Like my business. My business is very specific. If you want to move abroad, I know you have other needs, not just the shipping container. I know you need contacts, resources. You don't know the language. You don't know maybe somebody that does immigration, or maybe somebody that can help you find real estate. And I don't get into any of those business. I just refer them to people like Raquel. You need something in Portugal, you can talk to Raquel. You need somebody in Panama, I got contacts in Panama. So I spend a lot of time
Building the network.
adding more value. Like this network is the value I'm providing to a lot of my customers. So adding more value, more information, and I make content not about shipping. I make content about intercultural challenges, and I make content about so all of that is part of my brand. But when I hire somebody, bring somebody on board, uh, I explain and I try then to articulate. We're trying to help people way beyond. I mean, yes, we need to sell shipping services, but we're trying to do this. And if I'm clear on what I want to do for my business, then I can teach other people. If you're not clear how you want to grow and scale your business, that's really hard. It's going to be really hard for you to build the culture and train somebody. Uh, so I think that's one of the key. You have to be very clear on how you want to grow your business. Kind of like the issue with small business owners is because we are coming at this out of struggle. We're coming at this out of having such a hard time. We want to sell, and it happens to me. We want to sell shipping, but I also wanted to sell
We want to do it all.
packages, and I also
We want to
wanted
get
to.
everywhere.
And if somebody called me, hey, can I have your movers finished to paint my garage?
Yeah.
Heck yeah! So now I'm painting garage.
Yeah.
Or Pablo, I trust you a lot. Do you have a friend? Can you help me with the real estate in Costa Rica? And you don't need a license in Costa Rica. I'm tempted because I need that money, right? Now I'm
We
a
want to
real
go
estate agent.
everywhere.
But it is a temptation.
Yes.
This is somebody said it brilliant. Alex Hermosi said it brilliant. Popular business author, content creator said it brilliant. This is the lady on the red dress. So this lady on the red dress, another
Tempting.
the temptation of start dating other potential sources of income
Yeah.
that may allow you to have something to put in your table today,
But
food in
it's
your
not
table,
consistent. Yeah.
but it's not going to scale. It's not going to grow because you cannot be good at painting garage, international shipping, and real estate at the same time.
Yes.
The only way to be good and solid is to become an expert on
Yes.
one in particular niche service, and the more specific I am about my service, the better I could create processes. So I create a particular process for my business that is designed for a particular kind of customer that has particular needs. Like so, a lot of my customers are retired or semi-retired. So my contracts are 18 size font. Like the font is huge because it's designed for a very particular. I'm talking to
What
a
a
very particular.
detail.
So to me, it's like writing letters to my customer.
Yeah.
Like love letters. Like,
Yes.
I guess I have this philosophy: is if I'm able to understand what are your needs, who you are, and what are your needs, I'm able to provide more value. So if I know you are 55 to 60, I'm gonna write the contracts. So no fine print in my contracts. I know you are moving to Costa Rica, we speak Spanish, or you're moving to Portugal, you speak Portuguese. Uh, so what am I going to do? Am I going to try to connect you with a Spanish school? And I have this contact. I'm going to try to connect you with somebody that can teach you the language. So I know you have no community because you move into a country where you are maybe just you and your family, maybe you and your dog. So I know humans need a sense of community.
Yes.
So
Belonging.
I try to connect them with community. I try to, oh, this is meetups in Panama. We have these meetups here or meetup there,
Yes.
or we sponsor meetups because we cannot.
Mhm.
I cannot do this in every country. So we try to look for different opportunities for people to meet. So not just so so when I know who I want to service, I can then build additional values, additional ways of creating value. So that makes me more attractive to a customer. But that also is signaling to my employees, you know, this is what we wanted to do. This is who we are. This is we care about our customers. We're signaling. It goes both ways. And I think that's one of the most important things is understanding your what is your direction or what is do you want to do, then that's going to allow you to bring more people on board. Kind of like a hack is if you could start with freelancers, that's a hack. And to me, we started in Costa Rica. I found somebody that worked very well out of Nicaragua. And Nicaragua, the employment in Nicaragua allows me to be way more competitive as a boss. So like the minimum salary in Nicaragua could be like $300 a month. Shoot, very very low. In Costa Rica, it's about 600, it's twice as much. So my offering wasn't really to pay a lot less in Nicaragua, but to pay way beyond what they can make in Nicaragua. So they were very happy to provide the service. So not just having that, the mission, the culture, but also be able to be a lot more competitive as somebody that is offering an opportunity. That helped a lot. And I know every business is different, and not every business could be operated remotely like ours. But a lot of businesses are, or at least a big percentage of the business could be operated remotely.
And especially uh, with the thinking and strategy part. And a lot of it, I think it's also uh, doing the transition between lifestyle to having a scalable business. And also being able, we were talking about earlier, the difficulty of still bringing your own personality to a business that is growing, which is almost impossible because I am like the worst example of all, aside from what I say and do is like because my business is solely set on me right now, and so it's very difficult to not to say impossible to grow. But in businesses where your personality is very present, like yours, because you have a way of wanting to give to the client that proximity, that relationship, it's very difficult to keep imprinting that personality even when you grow. So one of the ways is exactly like you did, and you're not present everywhere, but you supervise and you're still present sometimes in specific and strategy wise. So I think that is amazing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest fears. A lot of small entrepreneurs or small business owners is this. Basically, I have my customers. I work by myself. I make decent money, but if I have to hire somebody else, that person is not going to do it like
Yes.
myself. And you have to pick and choose your battles because you want to scale.
There's no way around it.
You have to have teams or systems,
In place.
CRM and automated messages, automated sales systems, things like that. Which those are also very expensive and very hard. It's very hard to implement,
Influence, yes.
to create and implement good systems like that. I'm just going through this process.
It
It's
is.
costing me
Yes.
$13,000 to implement a new system, and that doesn't do it all. I still have to have employees.
Yes, and you just have to maintain and keep seeing if it's working or not. So it's a lot of time dedicated to.
So what I did is we do international shipping. I basically pick customers out of our agenda for the consultations, and I jump into the consultation calls. The consultation, I don't take consultation calls other than the ones I pick once or twice a week. I go through the calendar. I was like, I'm gonna go into this one. So I basically just jump into one of my customers' call with our salesperson or relocation consultant. And that way I supervise how he does the call, and I can add additional knowledge depending on if it's a little bit more complex. But there's a way for me to connect with the customer, but also to supervise.
But you don't micromanage, because
No,
that's
no,
one of
no, no,
the
no.
mistakes that a lot of people do when they're starting to scale out, is delegate, but then they micromanage anyway. And this is not that. So you have to kind of limit yourself and restrain yourself to not be present everywhere and every time. So it's very important to be
No, no,
strategic
and it's not about
and let people
micromanagement.
working and let people work, right?
No, it's not really about micromanagement. It's a way of control, of
Yes.
course, because I can see once a week out of 20 calls that are pre-booked for the week, I get into one and I can give feedback to our relocation specialist on how he does his work.
Mhm.
But it's not about
Yeah.
micromanagement. In fact, I don't like I let them, create a proposal, send the proposal. I let him do everything. I don't get involved. I want to meet some of the customers, and I also, when once we're delivering, uh, I pick and choose different shipments in a month, maybe once or twice a month, and even flying to Panama to make a delivery. I did a couple of months ago. In November, I did a shipment in Mexico, so I took a flight, went to Mexico. I did other meetings and other things, but I was present in one of those. Then I took the customer for dinner later. So those additional things, and that's because I want to be connected with the customer. I want to get the customer's feedback, and I do like meeting all those
Yes.
people who are moving abroad. I just really enjoy this. But it's a way of continue being engaged, but be able to have a team that does 95% of of everything. Like they do over 90% of everything. I most of the time I spend like in meetings,
Yes.
meeting with people and networking.
And you were talking also about this a little earlier. You cannot go over 100% of yourself. So even if the other person that you're that you're delegating to is 50, it's 15, it's 10%. It's 10% more than you could add alone, because you can't go over your 100%. So let go of the idea that someone else is going to be your 100%. They're not. But even if they're way below that, when you add up and it compounds, it's way more than your 100%.
See, the key is not finding somebody that can do it like you.
Yeah.
It's just being okay with somebody that can do 70%. If you do it 70%, and then you can find two that do 70%, then you are doing 140%.
So it's 1.5 times
Exactly.
you,
Exactly.
which is a lot.
And if you are able to scale that to a team of 10, then you'll be doing progress at the rate of 700% more
Yeah.
than you.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're able, and for that, you need to then become a leader of 10 people.
Yeah.
Lead them, show them the way, attracting them. And it's as hard as selling.
Yes.
Like if
Yes.
like if you know if I mean if you're in business, selling is a big headache for a lot of business people, and finding a good salesman is a big headache for a lot of business people. It's the same when you're acquiring talent. It's the same. You need to market to attract people.
And
You need
maintain
to
them.
sell them into a position, and once they are in the position, you need to keep them
Love
happy.
them.
So it's even harder than traditional sales because
Yeah.
once you finish with the customer,
It's
then the
done.
customer is done. They give you the 5 stars.
Yeah.
But with a team member, it will be a relationship that if you're doing it good, they could last you for many, many years. So it's a relationship that you need to sustain and keep, just like another family member.
And it's funny because I was leader of many teams while I was at the bank. But it's still very different being a leader in a team of your own company than being a leader inside a corporation of a specific, area or department or whatever, because the mission and the values are not yours, are not your own. So you have to kind of shape, and how we say it in Portugal is vestir a camisola. So you have to dress the t-shirt of the brand, but it's not you. So when you do scale and when you do have people, when you do have teams of your own, it's very hard to lead people, but it's more authentic because you're the brand and you're leading them by your own image. So you know what you want, what you look like. And again, the mission has to be there. It has to be determined, it's established, like put it on walls, print it on walls, whatever it is. But people have to know what you're about. So it's even different leading uh, teams
I think it's harder.
within your business.
It's harder because it's personal.
Yeah,
Business is
exactly,
personal.
exactly.
Like when somebody does something wrong,
Yeah,
or to me, it's not even about money. It's my legacy. You know, I want to grow and I want to scale a business, and I want to retire in a few years. 48-year-old retire. But it's a personal thing. So when somebody does something wrong, forgets to send an email, forgetting to send an email in my industry could be $1,000
mistake.
on fees
Mm.
on storage fees at a port. Forgot to send a reply, and you forgot to reply this email. Cost me $1,000. It's not just about the money. It's more like, you know, you are destroying my dream. I'm dreaming about building
It's
this.
the disappointment. It's
It's
almost like a parenting thing.
it's
Right?
yeah.
Like it's I'm not managed. I'm disappointed.
But once again, losing $1,000 on building a team and creating a culture is worth it.
Yes,
It's
on the long.
like it's part of the price and it's part of the budget. Like
It's the
budgeting,
growing pains.
it's just that you need to understand these things are going to happen. We know things are going to happen, so I budget for this. Like I'm now the only way that I was able to mentally couple with this is let it go. It's going to happen. I'm just going to budget for this. It's
Yes,
gonna
account for this. Yes.
in my margin. I know a lot of that is gonna go to fixing mistakes, and we want to fix them, and we want to keep the customer happy. The
And
customer
it's a
doesn't even want to
journey.
know.
Yes. And it's a journey because it's trial and error. It's adjusting, it's adapting, it's learning from whatever you do. But it's knowing that it's not going to ever be perfect. And that's one of the things that I especially uh, uh, have an issue with women because we tend to only advance when we think we're going to be perfect.
Mm.
Whereas men, they just go. They don't care, but they go. And women are very different in business. They tend to be really cautious and only advance when they're very secure and safe and that they know that they're going to be successful. And this is something that has to shift because nothing is going to be perfect anyway. And this is something that men already have in their head quite well, and we don't. And so this is funny how naturally you think and you say and you talk about, yeah, we're going to fail. We have to take that into account. For women, we're like, oh my God, I failed. How did I not think about this? Because all the wires going in the head. So it's very funny that at the same time it's even different if it's a woman and a man building businesses. So
It's interesting. I mean, you have to. It's just hard for it's hard for me hiring somebody and not knowing if that person
yeah,
is going to work because I know it's going to be. I will know if it doesn't work at least 3 months later or 6 months later, and it's just after a lot of training, a lot of so making mistakes is also hard for me as a man. But at some point, realizing that that's the only way,
then
you
it
have
comes
to.
with the business.
It comes with the business, and once again, business is not for everyone.
Oh,
You have if you cannot feel this struggle and embrace it and learn how to couple with these things, I have to create mental systems
The resilience.
I have to create the resilience to cope up with these things. And I know if I look into my cell phone right now, I could have something that I have to go fix. uh,
So it's
but it's
compartmentalized, right? You have to like keep things in boxes.
but it's you have to take the risk, make the decision, make the plan, test the plan. Uh, the kind of the problem that I see with a lot of new entrepreneurs, with these issues, right? Is they try to scale something that is not proven yet. So the expense is outrageous. It's too
Oh, yeah.
expensive. As an example, you want to sell these mugs, and you think it's a great idea because they look beautiful, and maybe there is nobody else in Portugal that has this mug. So you think it's a great idea. So you go in and search online for this in China. It costs them, 10 cents per each mug. And then you have to order a full container of it. And now it's 15,000 euros.
Yeah.
Import tax fees, and where to store these things. It's a lot of expenses because you thought it was a brilliant idea.
And they break.
Oh,
So
there's so many things that are going to happen. But smart entrepreneur will figure out a way to sell the mug even before
yes,
they import
they
from
buy
China.
it. Yes, exactly.
So you'll figure out a way how to create a landing page, create the marketing, see the reaction for the marketing. You start creating ads and
A/B testing.
you start testing, and if you see a lot of orders, a lot of people like you can reply, "Well, this is just a test drive." You can be upfront, but you know what I mean. Instead of making all this,
it's the
50,000 expense.
Yes,
You can potentially put a $500 small little marketing campaign out of your idea and see if
try
it
to see
works.
if it works. Yes.
So it's scaling a business. You cannot scale a business that it has not been proven.
Yes. And it's difficult to think about this because it's the reverse. You usually think I have to have a product to sell. No, you actually don't. You just need to have a good idea and then test to see if that product is sellable. You can short sell your product, like you can sell it before you even have it. So,
it's like many established companies, big companies like Amazon.
Oh yeah.
They have the research and development department. They have invested into millions of dollars into different venues and ventures that they never came to market. In fact, there is a number that says that over 300 initiatives out of one of these big corporations, they have 300 ideas, initiatives. Less than one out of 300 succeed or go to market. And it's very naive for us as an entrepreneur without resources.
Solo, yeah.
That one idea I have is gonna be the one that is gonna be the successful idea. So test small before you scale. You have to figure out what is your market fit before you make a big investment. And I see people all the time, and then they say, "Well, no, going to business is horrible." It is hard, but if you prepare yourself and surround yourself with smart people smarter than you, then
surround yourself with good professionals is like my tagline. Because that's the hard part as well.
That's gonna mitigate that risk a whole lot. Even with a great team of professionals around you, you may have problems. Even with all the learning all the different things, even with reading one book per week, you may have issues or troubles. But trust me, the mistakes are not gonna be that expensive. If you prepare yourself 3 months and read about how to hire and how to build a culture for your potential team, you spend some time learning about it, then it's going to be way easier when you go and start doing the interviews and start trying to attract that perfect employee. It's going to be easier. You have to prepare for it. And most people do not. No. They just pull the trigger. Yeah. Well, I think that's all the time that we have. We could go on for hours. I guess we could just chat on. But I wanted to thank you so much, Pablo, for being here and for having the time here to shoot this and to talk about these things. And I wanted also to make this a testament of sometimes how networking and relationships happen. It was completely out of the blue because someone else introduced us, and now we have cross-Atlantic relationship. So the power of connection is really a big thing. So thank you, Pablo, so much for being here. You're welcome. It's a pleasure. I hope
that this content helps a lot of people, and we'll put all of your socials and we'll market the hell out of this if possible. And thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.